persecution of Jews can be traced back through 1298 in the archives, when the
Rindfleisch, the night of beefsteak.
the Ritter Rindfleisch
55.
killed 55 Mosbach Jews way back in 1298. Further persecutions can be traced to 1343 and 1341 in connection with the pest, the plague, that was around. What they did is blame the Jews for the plague. The Jewish citizens were artisans, businessmen, manufacturers, academics, and servants. In 1743, Jewish Mosbach already were paying taxes, special taxes.
There were 17 Jewish families.
Later, the Jewish population grew and then and then declined until, at the time of the National Socialism, it completely disappeared. The figures are there. 1825, 100, 1855, 130, 192, and then downwards, 161, 159, 11, 134 families at the time I left here.
So in 1933, there were 134 Jewish families. In 1939, there were 18, and in 45, there were 0.
Oh, no, those were not families. Those were actually
Citizens.
Numbers of people. The Israelite cemetery can be traced to 1599. In 1860, the synagogue was built. Since 1827, Mosbach took on the function of a area rabbinate, and the Jewish community school or the Jewish community had a Jewish school since 1876. For the integration of the Jews is the fact, or speaking for the integration of the Jews, speaks the fact that in Mosbach, in 1930, in connection with the Einheitsbefreiungsfeier, which means that the Rhineland became German again after the occupation by the French in 1930, three field services took place, and a Protestant, a Catholic, and an Israelite. And the council of the city had a Jewish representative until 1933. The significant personalities were the former rabbi and honorary citizen Dr. Leopold Wildenstein from 1843 to 1923, as well as the
art historian
Dr. Julius Hell,
Dr.
Julius
H.C.
Hell, born in 1905, so he was younger than my mother. Der gebürtige Mosbacher Held is a recognized Rembrandt and Rubens researcher, lives in the USA and in addition to these other honors is honorary PhD at the University of Heidelberg. He is thanked by the Mosbach citizens, a spot, an honorary place on his plot. Then there was the addition, which we learned about in Williamstown, but we were away for the funeral. Dr. Julius Held died in the year 2002. Now you hear everything that I said. His connection with my family is this. He had, I believe, 2 sisters who, during the persecution or before the persecution, moved to Palestine. He, on the other hand, went to New York and got his, did postgraduate work at Columbia University, was in touch with my family, told my mother once that all his socks had holes in them, so she told him to bring his socks the next time he visited and she would darn them. We met them a few times after the war too. up when my parents lived in Stamford, and he and his wife and two children who were 11 and 7 at the time, I think, came to Stamford for Christmas. That's probably the last time I saw him. He later taught at both Oberlin College and Bennington College in Vermont, and was a significant donor of artwork to the Clark Institute of Art in Williamstown. You have now exhausted my knowledge of anything.
I know that his birthday is April 15th.
Tax
And
day.
that's probably when they had his memorial service the year that
Well, the
died,
fact that
because
they
we
put
were
this
away at
thing,
that
you know,
time.
they put this thing up sometime before 2002,
Oh, yeah.
and it was a sort of a postscript that they have this item about when he
Right.
died.
What do you suppose Dr. H.C. stands for?
I don't, honoris causa,
So the second doctorate is an honorate or something?
maybe both. Yeah, he could have been Doctor, let's see where the punctuation marks are.
Yeah,
Doesn't
Dr.
say. He was
H.C..
Doctor, HC is honoris causa, that means honorary. He's an honorary
So
PhD as well as
he
a
earned
regular one, I
and
guess.
received one.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My mother did not go to school with him because he was a guy who would go to the gymnasium, and my mother probably knew his sisters better.
Were girls not allowed to go to gymnasium?
There's a,
Oh, they could, but they probably didn't too many. Certainly my mother didn't because her family didn't have enough money to. You know. His family owned almost a sort of a department store across the street, right next to the Rathaus. I can show it to you on the way
and
out.
this is called the synagogue Platz.
And this is where the synagogue
And right here, there's another little thing.
in memory of.
And it says this place is made in memory of the Jewish citizens of Mosbach, the 12 unholy years during which these people were robbed, I guess, geräumt?
Yes.
Robbed
Robbed
robbed of their homes.
and banished from their homeland.
And then transported away.
Or killed in destruction camps.
Their house of worship stood here, and it was in November 10th, 1938, destroyed. And then Einrichtungen,
And the contents
or
of
the contents
synagogue
were
were
publicly
publicly
burned in the marketplace.
in the marketplace.
Don't forget.
Don't forget it. Can we go back down?
Yes, I guess so. Now, I thought you told me they built
So do you,